that this channel is sponsored by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. When you are at the grocery store deciding what beer or even non-beer type item to get, because they do have a couple new products. If you've seen Strange Beast, a new hard bucha that's out, that is made by Sierra. They put hop flavor in it. If you do like hops, this is a really good booch. If you're looking for a beer alternative and you like sweet, the T West is really good. And they also have, which I am really, really liking, their Hop Splash, which is hop water. Their liquid hoppiness is their like popular one that they're really pushing. It's super good. I really like their Summer Break IPA, which is their session. I like the lower alcohol percentage. When you're at the grocery store looking for something to drink, you can grab Sierra and purchase it and feel good about it because they support your boy.
Recording in progress. Got it.
Cool.
Nice.
And then I can send it to you after, I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
Cool. Where are you at?
I am in San Diego.
Nice.
That's where I'm from, and I still live here part-time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Where are you at?
I'm in Vermont. I am from Vermont. So here for a little bit and then back and forth between here and Rhode Island until I get my van, which will be done in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's right. Tell me about your van.
Yeah, so it's a 2022 Dodge ProMaster. Bought it empty, and then I'm having Van Girl Designs build it out. He just happened to be in New Hampshire. So I just dropped it off and he's been working on it.
It's a man that does Van Girl.
So he's the builder, but yeah. And then the woman is the one who designed it. So she's like an engineer and did the layout and did all of the like electrical planning and all that. So
what's different about Van Girl design? Is it like female specific somehow?
No.
Is it like really no? It's just a name. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think for one, like there's not a lot of female designers out there, and it wasn't even that it's a female designer, like that didn't make a big difference, but just the way that the layout is, that the garage is built around bikes, it's simple. Yep. It doesn't have like, it's simple but functional, like it has everything that I need, but it doesn't have like, you know, the subway tiles, backsplash, that kind of stuff. So just when I saw the design and saw them, it just kind of clicked and I was like, this is the van.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. And so when do you get it?
He's hoping to have it done mid-January. I'm going on
so you'll have it by next summer then?
I think he wants to go to Baja, so I think he's trying to get it done before he goes to Baja. So
mid-January, that's in like 3 weeks.
I know. Yeah. And if it doesn't happen,
2 weeks.
Yeah. Actually,
January starts in 2 days.
I know, that's crazy to think about. Yeah, we'll see. And I told him if he doesn't get it done mid-January, it's not that big of a deal because I'm actually leaving for 2 weeks. So it's not like I'd be able to move into it anyways.
Okay. And then, so you're going to move into it. You're going to do full time?
I'm going to do full time, but I also do a lot of house sitting. So, I mean, that's how I've been able to travel and explore all these places and do what I do, because I can, get a 2 week, 3 week, month-long house sit and just stay in the area, explore, kind of get a feel of it and then move on. So I'll do van and then I'll still do some house sitting for sure.
Now are the house sitting gigs something that, did you know that you were being interviewed today?
Apparently. Now I do.
House sitting gigs something that you're people or is it part of a website thing?
Part of a website, yeah. It's called trustedhousesitters.com. And I've been doing it, probably for like 7 years now. And
that's awesome.
So I love it so much. There's no money exchange. So I sign up for the service, which is like $120 a year or something, but then I can apply to any house sit that I want. and they go through like an interview process. And then if I get chosen for the house sit, I pay to get there wherever it is, whether it's driving or flying. But there's no money exchange. So I don't get paid for it. They don't pay me. I get a free place to stay. Sometimes they'll leave a car if it's like, a remote location. So yeah,
That's cool.
pretty cool. I love it.
Assuming you can't have any priors or anything like that.
I mean, you can do a background check. I don't know if it's required, but I do have a background
Probably
check.
helps.
Yeah, that helps. But then it's like Airbnb, once you start getting reviewed, like I have, I don't know, probably 30 reviews by this point. And so people can, read through the reviews and see that I'm clean and leave the house really neat and, take great care of their pets and their home.
And you don't have any like home robbery prior convictions or anything like that.
Yeah, that helps.
Arson.
That helps for sure. But
okay, so when you're in the van, where do you go? Like, do you stay in Vermont mostly, or?
No, I'll go all over. I already committed to a house sit in North Carolina this summer. It's like 45 minutes from Brevard, which I haven't been down there yet. So I'm excited to go down there. So that'll be this summer. And then after that, I honestly haven't really planned. I'll probably come back to Vermont for a little bit next summer. My ultimate goal, it's not going to happen this winter, probably won't happen next winter, but I want to ship my van to Australia and New Zealand and do 3 months in each and then come back.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
Rad.
So it's doable. I mean, I think the shipping will definitely be an expense, and then you have to get like the special permit to drive over there. But I don't know. It sounds awesome.
I want to get to North Carolina too. I want to ride in Asheville.
Yeah. I've heard really good things. So
have I. I've been meaning to get there. And then also, have you been to Bentonville before?
I have. Mm-hmm. Okay. I've been there.
I do have a guest room, or my driveway is pretty flat. If
you live there?
Ever to visit. Yep, I have a house there. Yeah. Oh,
sweet. So you moved from Mammoth. You're not in Mammoth anymore.
No, I moved from Mammoth in 2010.
Oh.
So I haven't lived in Mammoth for 12 years, 13 years now, almost.
Have you been back though?
I go all the time.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure I've seen you on the trails there.
Yeah, I'm there every summer, and I go a lot. It's my favorite place in the world, so I spend a lot of time there.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I have the van too, and I've been staying out off the scenic loop.
Okay.
Where it's all free and awesome. But I also have a free hotel room at the Sierra Nevada Resort, which is like a luxury hotel room. Yeah, it's like a fireplace suite. So I have that there. So I go all the time, and my bestie lives there. So do you have a connection with Mammoth? Did you used to live there?
Well, I used to live in Bishop. I was in the Bishop area for like 6 years.
Okay, that's right. I saw that on your Facebook and asked you about that. That's right.
Yeah, I moved there 2016 and then just left this past April.
So. Oh, no way. Do you know Jeff Fox? Foxy? That's my bestie. He's a local firefighter, ski patrol, climber, badass. Yeah.
I mean, I knew some people in Bishop or in Mammoth, but I was more based in Bishop. Did you ride the trails down in Bishop at all?
I have not yet. What's it called? Chipmunk?
Yeah.
Is the trail area, the new trail area that everybody's talking about?
Yeah.
No, I haven't ridden there yet. I'm meaning to. I've ridden, what is it? Coyote Flats.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I've ridden Coyote Flat. I shuttled that.
Yeah. How'd you do that?
We just shuttled in my buddy's truck, like drove up to the top. And then I want to say it's a like sustained, mostly sustained, like 11-mile downhill.
Huh.
There's some sand though. That's a tough part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are some undulations, but it's downhill for the most part. And then I've done Silver Canyon.
Okay, I never did Silver Canyon. Wait, is that in the white?
That's out of the whites. Okay. Yeah. And I
Black Canyon.
did Black Canyon, yeah, kind of parallel Silver Canyon, I think.
Okay.
Silver Canyon is an actual fire road.
Okay.
And it drops 6,000 feet in 10 miles. It's amazing. In the day, I actually did uncut video of my run. It's pretty old and not the greatest video, but it's crazy. When we were at the top, it was a snow lightning storm.
Oh my God.
In May of, I want to say 2015 or 2016. I was up there with Foxy, and it was snow and lightning. And the lightning was so close. And, we were kind of talking at the top, and he was like, we got to go now. And when he says that, as like a firefighter, I was like, okay. So, we started, he followed me in my Forerunner. I just rode it I rode it on my bike, and it was, the snow quickly turned to heavy rain, within just, a few hundred feet of the descent. And I was in the wrong jacket. I was wearing my puffy jacket. So it's not waterproof.
Yeah.
And there were probably like 12 or 13 like splash zones where there was like creeks because it was raining so hard. Oh my God. It was an epic ride. And then I also did this past summer, we did Paletta Canyon.
That's
done that.
Fun. Yep.
It was super fun. We, instead of starting from like the very top, we took like a cut-in trail that came in lower, and that trail itself was like very bad for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because for trails, it's usually for me, it's like the opposite of what you think. Like black fall line tech, great for me.
No problem. Yeah,
that's usually no problem, depending. Yeah, but when you get like more blue trails that traverse, and you get into exposure and off camber, that's where I get into trouble. So it's like opposite of what you think,
Interesting.
So Jeff I actually fell off the side once. And then Jeff actually had to like piggyback me like the last quarter of the trail. Because there's just too much work to get me and my bike through there. So yeah, we've done Paletta Canyon. So, nice. But then the rest of it, once we got to like the downhill black stuff, then it was mostly fine.
Yeah. I feel like anybody who goes up to the whites and does a day up there, like something happens, something epic happens.
It's pretty gnarly and extreme conditions and terrain up there. And it's then the other cool thing is we got to stay at the research center.
Oh, cool.
Which is a rare thing. People don't get to do that.
Yeah.
So that was cool. His
research center at the base, like
at the top of White Mountain at the peak.
Oh, wow.
There's a research center up there.
Okay. I've never been up there.
It was pretty amazing. Like the stars, holy crap. Holy crap. Yeah, that was cool. And I've got the van, so we just stayed in the van.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Sweet. Yeah, I had a love-hate relationship with Eastern Sierra. I mean, it's so beautiful and there's so much cool stuff to do, but I found the community very hard.
It gets lonely. It can get lonely. What was tough about the community for you?
Well, I feel like it was very cliquey. Like when I first moved 100%. There, right? When I first moved there, I made some friends, but I don't know, I never really felt like I was part of the community because everybody had their own little cliques. And I think most of it was because it's a very much of a climbing town, and I'm not a climber. I'm a mountain biker, and the climbers mountain bike on their days off. So it wasn't.
Yeah, if you were living up in town in Mammoth, and and meeting people on the trail riding, you're automatically in the fold.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's different as a woman. Maybe I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I mean, I've always kind of struggled with that too, because like I'm a pretty good rider. And I love riding with women of all levels, but I feel like there's definitely, I don't know, I want to call it like comparison, but like, you know, other people are like, oh, I can't ride with you. You know, I'm just going to slow you down. I'm like, I don't care. I want to
exactly. Like, how do you explain that to people that are new riders and whatever? Because I get that too. People are like, oh, I don't want to ride with you because I'm going to slow you down or whatever. I'm like, it's not about that.
No, it's just about getting out there and having fun.
Yeah. Well, okay. We can ride the trail at different speeds and see each other at the bottom.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
We can talk during the climbs, you know, or I can just chill the fuck out and we can just ride together.
Yeah,
or
and just have a fun day.
A mellow ride too, which I love. Across country or backcountry ride, you know?
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
well,
yeah, I've run into that one too, and that one's an interesting one. But I think for Mammoth, you're right; it is an interesting place.
It's very transient too, and I'm not saying like I'm not. You know, I was only there for 6 years, but I feel like a lot of people came and went, and it was hard to, you know.
That's exactly right. But as a male, I never had a problem with making friends there or fitting in. So I wonder maybe if that has something to do with it. I would think it might be tougher as a female, but you probably got a bunch of dudes hitting on you because it's what, like 8-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think it's better now. It's not quite 8-to-1 anymore, but
yeah, it's changing too. I don't know. I mean, you've been there every summer, but it's definitely, even since the time I was there, I feel like, and when COVID hit, the town has changed quite a bit.
Oh yeah, ever since it was bought.
Yeah.
Since Mammoth was bought, it's really changed. It's really busy now.
Yeah, and a lot of money has moved in. But
yeah,
that's what happens. It's life.
That is what happens. Such is life. Well, in the summer, once you're on the trail,
the summers there.
Once you're on the trail, you don't get the busyness. It's the same like any resort. Are you cleaning your screen?
It is. The sun's hitting it. Weird.
That's hilarious.
The dust and the fingerprints on it.
It's kind of like the same with like Sedona, or Moab. Town is crazy, but once you get out on the trail, it's fine.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you have a blog.
I do.
Website. What's it called?
Two-Wheeled Wanderer.
Two-Wheeled Wanderer.
Two-Wheeled Wanderer. Yeah.
And for my followers and listeners, who are you? What do you do? Where can you be found?
Yeah. So my name is Becky Timbers, and I can be found mostly on my blog. I do a little bit of social media, but I really struggle with social media. So I try to keep it focused on the blog. But yeah, I started it in 2019 when my dad and I did a mountain bike trip to Squamish, British Columbia. And I was like looking for trail information and what routes to ride and just like all this information on mountain biking in Squamish. And I could find like bits and pieces here and there, but no complete guide, like no one place to go where you could find all the information. So I was like, there needs to be something like that. So I created my blog, and honestly, when COVID hit, like it kind of took off a little bit, just because I think everybody wanted to be outside and on bikes and, be able to exercise and get fresh air without being inside. So I started to gain a lot of traction during COVID, and since then it's just kind of been a crazy wild ride. And yeah, it's my full-time job now, and I write and ride and have big plans.
What means are you getting paid to write blogs? You have some sponsors?
I don't have any direct sponsors. I don't. Yeah, it would be awesome to get like a bike sponsor, but then I don't know if I want to be beholden to one brand and we'll see. I haven't crossed that bridge yet, but I have advertising on my site, which I obviously don't love, but it pays well. And then affiliate.
Affiliate links.
Yeah, an affiliate link. So if there's like a product or piece of gear that I like, and then I link to it with an affiliate link, then I'll make a commission off of that. So those two things are my main sources of income right now.
You have a Patreon?
I have. Yeah, well, I have, it's like buy me a coffee or something where it's like people can donate like $5 or whatever. I've thought about doing Patreon, but like people don't realize how much work goes into blogging. And I'm like, if I need to offer extra for these people who sign up for a Patreon account, it's just me right now. If I had somebody else working with me, which I probably will hire within the next year, I think I could do extra stuff like that. And I know you don't need to offer extra for Patreon, but I feel like there needs to be some kind of incentive for people to give you money on a monthly basis.
I have a Patreon, and I do have some loyal supporting subscribers, which thank you guys. Thank you. You guys are awesome. It's not very much every month, but it's something. It's a little bit. And I don't necessarily need it for like my living expenses because I do well. It's money that goes towards the channel and towards the Unpavement project, So, because that is a lot of time. I don't know if you make videos too or have a YouTube channel, but that is a lot of time.
Yeah.
Editing videos. Do you have a YouTube channel?
No,
videos.
It's another thing. It's another thing that I'm like, I should be doing this, but I spend so much time in front of my computer as it is. And like, I cannot physically, mentally add something else. I think eventually
Oh my God. I'm visualizing you saving time by just dictating while you're driving.
True.
Like the voice to text technology now is like almost perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I could do that. Yeah, we'll see.
I've done that before. Just make voice notes while you're driving. And that translates to text. And then you can like copy and paste that stuff into a blog and edit it and save a lot of time probably.
That's true. I might look into that. It's a good idea. So, but yeah, I mean, right now it's like it's editing and then you have to update old posts and it's a never ending bucket of work.
It's a lot of work.
Which I love. But I mean, I'm living this life where I, have freedom to go wherever I want to go and do whatever I want to do. So it's working out.
And it sounds like you're wealthy because you live minimally.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always kind of set my life up to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, and just make it work. I don't have a fancy car. I don't have a permanent home.
You do have a fancy car now.
I do have a fancy car.
You have a very expensive, awesome.
That is true. Yeah, I do. But it's also a home, it's like a home payment too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
that's rad. Okay, I'm gonna
brand new clothes, and I don't know. It's a trade-off, and some people don't, want to do those trade-offs. But for me, it's worth it.
That's rad. Do you have? Did you get an awning on the van? Okay, I'm gonna say something that sounds weird, but it's funny. Okay. We should touch awnings.
Touch awnings. Okay.
That's what I tell my friends. That's like my. What I tell my friends, when we like round up the wagons and camp together, our vans, like, hey, let's touch awnings.
Touch awnings. Okay.
I have a little portable fire pit.
Oh, sweet.
That I carry with me, and outdoor rug and Christmas lights, and it's so fun to like round up the wagons and set up the full procurement.
Yep.
I have a box on the back of my van that the door folds down and becomes a table, and I have my barbecue on there.
Cool. Do you have photos on your Instagram account? Because I'll have to I
do, and I'm a super geek. In my spare time, which is very little, I just watch van tour and van build videos and always researching like the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have any questions or want anything for your van, definitely ask me. I can probably give you some options or shoot you in the right direction.
Okay.
It's still fun.
So how often, like how many months would you say you're in your van versus your home?
Well, I probably on the road about a third of the year. Anywhere from as little as 2 months to 4 months
at a time.
No, not at a time.
Okay. Yeah.
All added up. Yeah. So I go back and forth between San Diego and Bentonville. And I'll take
miles on your van. It's a long way.
A lot of miles. I've had it for a year and a half, and I want to say it's like 36,000 in a year and a half, which is not that much considering, because when I'm at home, it just sits.
True. Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking about maybe renting it out when I'm in Bentonville, because it just sits there. So maybe make a little money with it.
Yeah.
And I was super anti renting it out. But the thing is it gets professionally cleaned every time. And that's nice.
Have you researched companies?
What's that?
Have you researched companies to do it?
My friend runs a van rental company, and it's one of the bigger ones. I can't remember the name right now.
Okay.
If you said it, I would be like, oh yeah, that's it.
One minute. Roamly might be one of them, but anyway.
No,
but yeah,
not Roamly.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we should touch awnings.
Okay, let's do it.
I know it's weird, but it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have full solar and everything on there?
I do have there'll be solar.
How many watts of solar did you get?
I have no idea.
Okay, if you have options still, get a minimum of 400.
Minimum of 400.
Like 200-watt solar panels. Or even 300 is okay too, but I had one 200-watt and it wasn't enough.
Okay.
And I got another solar panel added, and now I don't really have to manage power as much. And then did you do a lithium power bank, hopefully?
Why are you asking these questions?
Because I want to make sure you get the right thing, the best.
So it has one Panasonic 330 watts. There was
okay, that's good. 330 is good.
There was an option to add a second one, and there'll be the electrical to add a second one. But I just wanted to see if I needed it.
That's a big solar panel, 330. That's a big one. And to have two 330s would be a lot.
Well, I think the second one was a smaller one.
Okay.
So you could take off. I don't know. I don't remember, but there was an option to add a second one, and I didn't do it. And then what was the second?
Why not do it?
Because it was a lot more money. And I didn't know if I needed it. And it was something that I could add later.
Okay. If you can add it later, I bet you you will.
Okay.
Because the less you have to manage power when you're boondocking, for multiple days.
Yeah.
The better.
True.
Because that's when you have to manage power, when you have to worry about power. When you're, just a place for one night and then driving the next day, you don't have to worry about power at all.
Yeah.
But when you're in
someplace for like a week,
up to a week, and you're not plugged in, you're going to need your solar, and 330 might not be enough, especially in the winter months.
Yeah.
When the sun's lower.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And then lithium power bank, because you want that van to stay relevant. Everything's lithium now. It's way more expensive.
And those are batteries?
Those are the batteries. Lithium versus AGM.
Oh, it's an AGM then.
So yeah, you'll have to
upgrade,
manage power with your AGM setup. And then also with the AGM batteries, you can't let it get below 20%.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
With your lithium power bank, you can bring it down to 0, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, so many things.
Yeah, so that's
I mean, those you can money. But those you can swap out, right?
Depending on, yeah, but then you end up spending more money,
Yeah.
Because you're paying for both setups then. Because you pay for the AGM setup and then
it's not like you can just swap the lithium battery into whatever system
you can, but you have to buy the lithium setup then, You've ended up paying for two setups and you got to pay for the labor to switch it.
True. Okay. Well, I don't know if they've done that already, but I can reach out and ask him like how much.
I say ask him, and it might not be an option at this point, and then whatever, it's moot. Or he could add more AGM batteries too, maybe.
There's two of them.
Okay. Yeah, you'll be good. You can also we'll ask him and see if it's a possibility, and then if it is a possibility, ask how much, and then make the opportunity cost decision. That's how my mind works. And then because you want that van to stay relevant,
Yeah, definitely.
If you ever want to sell it in the future, it's going to be a lot tougher to sell it with the AGM setup. Well, to sell it for full asking what you want for it,
Yeah, I'll text him after, see what he says.
But what you can also do is just get, one of the little portable power stations you can carry with you, so you have a little extra option. And then those are cool too, because you can get solar panels for those, and you can go set the solar panels up anywhere. Like if you're parked in the shade, you can take your little portable power station with its solar panels and put it out in the sun, or even carry it with you, whatever. It's a nice option to have just in case for a little extra.
Okay. Good to know. I'm sure there'll be more things that come up where I'm like, I should have thought about that beforehand, but.
Well, you know how it goes. What they say, you build your first van for your enemy. Your second van is for your friends. And your third van is for you.
Right.
Yeah, I think, this is going to be a learning experience.
It will be, but I do trust them, and I think they're going to do a good job. So hopefully it'll be good for a few years at least.
Oh, you'll be good. Okay, so the new
hold on, it says that we might need to jump off and jump back on because it says I have 9 minutes left on my free account.
Oh my God, have we been talking for 40 minutes already?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay, yeah, if you don't pay for Zoom, they limit your time.
So like 45 minutes, I think.
I think it's like 44 minutes or something like that.
Okay, well, let's jump back on.
Do you have to do it right now?
8 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, oh yeah, I see time left up at top. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so when that cuts out, we'll just restart. Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't even talked about what we want to talk about yet. We're talking about vans.
That's good.
What was I saying? What was I saying about van? I can't remember. Oh well.
Something about the build or travels.
I don't know. You'll be good though. I'm stoked because my van is all modular. Van Duit builds a modular.
So I did look at Van Duit and I liked their stuff. It seemed like
it's not for everybody, because it's kind of an industrial style. It doesn't look like, a lot of people want their vans to look like an apartment inside,
Right.
This does not look like that. Yeah. But I like that. I like the metal. I like the industrial. The metal feels really clean to me. I live on the water part of the year, so it's not going to get moldy, which wood does, especially particle board. And I've changed it a few times because this van is the first one they built for someone in a chair. So it's been an experiment and a work in progress. And we've, changed it a few times. So luckily it's modular,
Right. So you can just
that's been fun.
Actually, I did look at them, but I don't really remember what the vans look like. I'll have to check it out later. But you love it?
Pros and cons to everything. Yes, I love it. Answer your question. Yes. Are there things I don't like about it? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have that with everything though.
Yeah, exactly. Pros and cons to everything. I think, eventually the goal, I've got a buddy here who's an insane van builder. Check out Suha Designs, SUHA Designs. That's my buddy Nick, ripper surfer here in North County, San Diego, and he's building vans. So I think my eventual goal, I mean, and we're talking like, maybe close to a decade or so, depend, well, I'm eventually want a van built by him.
Yeah. Cool.
He's a trade carpenter.
Oh, cool.
So his woodworking is just like top notch.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be your apartment upgrade.
That'll be my apartment van. Yeah. But you know what? There's so many things I want now, like in a van. You know what I really want that I will do in a next future build?
Mm-hmm.
I want a skylight. Where like the roof opens up,
Yeah.
And then I have a powered bed in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bed could lift me through the roof. Wouldn't that be rad?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, a few things for me, just physically, I don't get out of my van a lot when I'm camping, especially when it's just one night.
Yeah.
I don't even get out of my van just because getting around in dirt and rocks in a wheelchair is just not easy unless I have to, or unless I really want to for some reason. So if and a lot of times, I have my lift, it's kind of like a swing, it's a hoist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll have that kind of lift me outside the van, but I don't have it put me down. And so I'll sit outside the van, but not be on the ground.
Yeah.
I'll do that and like drink a whiskey and look at the stars,
nice.
But
to be elevated up onto your roof, that would be pretty sweet.
But if I could just sit on the roof, I could have a 360 view.
Yeah.
Because when I'm out the side of my van, I can only see one direction.
Have you talked about it? Like, is it possible?
And do it, won't do it. It is possible. It is something I could have done, but it's like, I think it's like $4,000. That's a lot. That's a lot.
But I mean, it's not like 10 grand.
Right. $4,000 is not 10 grand. Yeah. But I have it, and I have an air conditioner where the
I need to ask you about that because I don't have built-in air conditioning. Do you have one?
I've rarely used it. First of all, I've used it like twice in a year and a half. So if you're following the weather, you don't necessarily need it.
Mm-hmm. But have you done, well, I guess in Bentonville, you're not in your van, but like East Coast humidity is brutal in the summer.
Yes. So if you're going to be on the East Coast in the summer, you're probably going to want something.
Mm-hmm.
But usually with the air conditioner, you run the engine to offset the power draw anyways. So why not just run the car air conditioning if the engine's running? You know what I mean? Yeah. If you need it, And then if you have proper ventilation, usually you're fine,
Mm-hmm.
There is a brand new air conditioner that just came out. It's a Dometic, and it's the same footprint as the Max fan, and it's way more power efficient, and I think it's a 12 volt. So if you are to get one, get the new Dometic one.
Okay.
Yeah, like mine is huge. It takes up like the whole.
Yeah, I know you can get like just smaller little portable ones, which I mean, obviously they're not going to be as powerful, but it's better than nothing.
Well, if you're going to get one, definitely get the new Dometic one. That's the one to get. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh.
Or a lot of people do 2 Max fans.
Yeah.
So one is one is sucking and one is blowing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do have one on the roof, but I'll probably get another one.
And then I just have a little like USB powered like little fan in the back that I recharge. It, if I were to just leave it running, it would last like 2 to 3 days. So it's very efficient. And I have one of those it's like a little clip-on fan in the back.
Yeah. And it's battery powered?
Yeah, it's just battery powered. You just recharge it.
Okay.
So that stuff works really well for circulation, because circulation in the back of the van and where the bed is, it is is always a thing. Yeah.
So much to get.
So much to get. And you'll, it doesn't have to be perfect in the beginning. You'll get the stuff over time. Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to stop this because we have like a minute left, but then I'll jump right back on.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll work.
See you in a minute, and everybody else, it'll be like nothing happened.
Edit it out.
Yep.
Right.
Boom, we did it. We're back. Hello, everyone. Because we're both cheap asses and don't pay for Zoom.
I didn't even think of that because I never use Zoom. So,
well, I did think of it, and that's why I asked you to send the link instead of me, because I was hoping maybe you had like a subscription. But you know what? I actually, because I did pay for it and I just recently canceled it, maybe I'm still on.
All right. Well, if we go over
membership,
again, then we'll use yours.
I don't know if I am or not. I can't. You want me to hit record? No, you're recording.
I'm recording, but I just wanted to make sure that
it would have saved. Do you have a Mac?
Well, I saved it to desktop, and I'm looking for it right now. I'm sure it did because I hit save, so I'll just have to find it later.
If not, oh well. We talked about vans the whole time.
That's true.
And we didn't even talk about the Unpavement project or trails yet.
All right, well, let's do that. I'll look for this later. Yeah, so let's start with a little bit about you.
What do you want to know, Miss Becky?
Just a little bit about who you are, how you got into mountain biking.
Well, I'm the three-wheeled wanderer, I guess.
That's perfect.
And if for some reason our previous conversation didn't record, I say that, everyone, because Becky is the two-wheeled wanderer. On Instagram at two-wheeled wanderer, there's some underscores in there too, right?
Yeah, it's annoying, but that's it.
Between each word?
Yes.
TWO
underscore
wheeled underscore wanderer. Okay. Okay. That'll be, well, I'll have links in the show notes, listeners, if you want to check out her Instagram, and your blog is twowheeledwanderer.com, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. It is.
All right. That's easy. Okay. How did I get into mountain biking? This is going to be redundant for people that know me, but I'm not a mountain biker.
Okay.
I am a surfer, a waterman, first and foremost, and a runner. Those are my loves, and this bike is how I trail run.
Mm-hmm.
That was my intent. That was my intention for it, and that's how I relate when I'm on the trail. That's what I relate as. What I identify as when I'm on the trail.
As a runner, not a mountain biker.
Yes, I'm in a power assisted hand crank 3-wheeled trike contraption, but that is my version of trail running.
In your head, you're trail running.
In my head, I'm trail running, and I know that probably sounds weird to a lot of people, but whatever. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. I mean, might as well just fully embrace it, right? And hit the bike park, hit the jump trails, hit the drops, hit the tech lines. And that's what I found I really love is tech lines. And like my favorite trails at Mammoth are Shock Treatment, Velocity, and Bullet.
I saw you go down Velocity Spine. I was like, that is impressive.
I've only done it twice now. Well, on my bike, I did it years ago when it was different. Mm-hmm. It used to be way different. It wasn't so deep, you know.
At the end, the ending of it.
The spine, the spine itself wasn't very tall. those rocks weren't exposed like they are today. Like there was no roots or anything exposed. The root line on the right?
Yeah.
There was no roots.
That's harder than the spine, is to do those roots.
It's way harder than the spine. So I used to do it in a 4-wheeled bike. And I would have my 2 left wheels on the spine and my 2 right wheels off the spine.
Mm-hmm.
And it was completely fine. So that tells you how shallow it was.
Yeah.
Now it's really, really deep. There's no way I could do that now. It'd flip right over because it's it's so eroded now, and so big, and it's become a really gnarly feature now. Really gnarly. It used to not be gnarly at all. It used to be nothing.
Yeah. So I guess I was going to ask you about like challenges and considerations later, but I mean, for us now mountain bikers, I don't know what you would call us, regular, normal. I don't know if that's how you would want to say it, but changing trails is a little bit of an issue. But if you're on, an adaptive mountain bike, like one small change in a trail could make a huge difference.
Yeah. Issues like that are like exponentially greater. Mm-hmm. Usually. Well, I mean, you'd be surprised because there are advantages to an adaptive bike, and it's kind of half 4x4ing.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be surprised when I can just like moto through or moto up with that thing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of maybe a 2-wheel rider would have to walk it or something,
Right.
Which, by the way, I have a ongoing joke with my friends. Whenever they walk their bike, I tell them they're showing off. So here they are doing, a shameful, quote unquote, shameful thing.
Right.
And to me, they're showing off.
Yeah, cute.
It's kind of a funny joke. I actually just made a really funny reel with my friend Jess Hanna in Bentonville.
Okay. Wait, is she Jess the Maker?
Jess the Maker, yeah.
I've never met her, but I know of her. Mm-hmm.
Follow her because she is so funny.
Yeah.
And she is that way in person too.
Nice.
Like she is funny in person too, like that. Like she is being herself in her videos, And we made this reel, and it's so funny. So many people don't get the joke, and it's that joke that I just told you, where she's showing off by walking her bike. I ride a tech line, and she goes, to zoom in on her face, and she goes, show off. And then she walks the tech line, and I go, it zooms in on my face, and I go, show off.
That's awesome.
It's fucking great. It's fucking great. And it's so funny. If you look at the comments, it's people like all being like serious and sentimental, like about how it's okay to walk your bike.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Completely missing the joke.
The whole.
Yeah.
Completely missing it. Wore right over their head.
Over their heads.
Yeah. So funny. So funny. Anyway, so yeah, if there, if something, and Mammoth is an example of a place that just erodes like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And changes. The trails. Every season, it's so different. Mm-hmm. It's so different. After the snow melt and the erosion, it's just, yeah. And the changes are that with the erosion, all the features in the rocks get deeper and deeper. It gets gnarlier, and the features get bigger and bigger. Yeah, but it's so fun. It's so challenging. And it's so raw there that I love it. And once you're used to riding in pumice, Mammoth becomes your favorite place.
Yeah, I love it too. Mm-hmm.
I love it. I fucking love it. Oh my! What's your favorite trail?
Shotgun. I love Shotgun because like the more you ride it, like you just get to know every single turn and every single like pump, and it's just fast and flowy.
You can hot lap it, and it's Shotgun is like a staple.
Yeah,
it's like what we ride early season and late season.
Yep.
And
all season
because it's lower. Yeah, or also you ride in the snow.
Yeah, well, that'd be a little sketchy. But flow to Shotgun is like, what would it be?
Flow to Shotgun.
Twilight, velocity, Twilight, flow, Shotgun. Can you do that? No.
Yes.
There was one run where I was like, this is my favorite run ever.
Oh, mine or yours?
No, it would be mine. So it would be down velocity. I can't remember what it was, but it was like it was flow to shotgun, and it might have been velocity, twilight, flow, shotgun. I can't remember, but anyway, it's so good.
Well, my favorite trail combo from mid station is upper chain to velocity.
Okay.
Upper chain, velocity to twilight, because I don't like lower velocity. Lower velocity is kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
So upper chain, velocity, twilight, chain smoke to lower twilight, and you end up back at chair 2. And then you could take downtown to shotgun from there. But if you want to get up to flow, that requires taking chair 2 up, or I climb the service road.
Yeah.
And then you take breakthrough to flow to shotgun.
Maybe it was breakthrough to flow. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't get to ride there last year or this past year, but.
Oh my God, it's so fun. And I can ride that every one of the trails I just said, they're all big boy, big girl trails, right?
Yeah.
And I can ride it all completely solo.
Nice.
And now, I just added upper chain to that, because upper chain's kind of next level.
Yeah.
And then and added the velocity spine to it. I realized I can ride the velocity spine solo. Yeah. Now, I come off the spine, when I rode it, I came off to the right at the end.
There's that big
and then there's a tree. Yeah, and there's a tree right there. And so for me to clear that tree is really difficult. Like, I go right into it. But it's so funny. When we rode Paletta Canyon, there was a rock that was kind of spiny. And I have a skid plate now on the back of my bike. And I told Foxy, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to slide down the middle of this rock with my both front wheels off the sides of it, and kind of pretend like it's the spine and see how it goes. So I only have one wheel that's making contact. That's my drive wheel on my back wheel, on the rock, and my 2 front wheels are off the side. And so it's my skid plate and my back wheel that are contacting it, and I'm just kind of slid off it, and it went perfect. It went perfect. And Fox was like, oh shit, you can probably go off the front of the spine then, like the main line on the spine. So, and it's like a 4-foot drop now, probably about 3.5.
Yeah. I mean, you can still roll it.
You roll that? No way.
The end of the spine? Wait, are you talking about onto the ramp, or
there's no ramp on the spine.
No, there's not.
There's no ramp.
But to come into velocity, there's the Hillary step or whatever they call it. But you can roll the spine.
Really?
We're thinking of the
then you must be like this when you roll it, because it's like 4 foot straight down.
Maybe my front tires stays off the ground. I don't ever remember it being like a legit drop though.
Okay. So anyways, all that to say, I've now added the spine to that solo route, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
And now, like, in living in Bentonville, my riding it's just made me a better rider. I'm pretty sure I can do Hillary step solo too now.
Nice.
Which I used to get a spot on it, but now I don't think it'll be a big deal at all. I've always just done the beeline, which is really fun anyways, but yeah, that's a super fun trail combo. And then I do want to try, I am going to do flow drop. Pretty sure I'm going to do flow drop. I've been practicing drops.
I saw you go off the drop the hammer. That's impressive.
Oh, that wasn't drop the hammer yet. That was Mad Hatter. That drop is on a trail called Lower Mad Hatter.
Okay.
Have you ridden that trail before?
Waterpen trails, right?
No, Wonderland area. Oh. Blowing Springs in Bella Vista.
Yeah, I haven't ridden that then.
which you can get to from the Greenway, from Slaughter Pen.
Okay.
You just take the Greenway north up to Blowing Springs.
Okay.
It's if you haven't ridden Mad Hatter, it is probably the best trail in all Bentonville.
Okay, good to know.
It's amazing.
I'll actually be back there. Actually, I'm going to Fayetteville for 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually in May. So I'll be in that area.
I'll be there.
Sweet. Let's ride.
I will be there. Let's ride. Yeah. Hell yeah. Stoked. I'll show you.
Yeah, it's like drop. The first 3 weeks of May.
So that's a substantial drop, obviously, but not as big as Drop the Hammer.
Yeah, Drop the Hammer is pretty big. It's like 10 feet.
And I'm doing it as a step in the progression to Drop the Hammer.
Okay.
So have you ridden Huntley Gravity Zone?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the trail Air Raid starts with a little drop.
Yeah. Yep.
That was the first step.
Okay.
No problem. It's not even a thought now. And then that Mad Hatter drop was step 2 in the progression.
Nice.
And I don't want to say it's not a thought now or nothing, but it's not hard anymore. I can do it with confidence, even if I'm by myself.
Wow.
I can do that drop, no problem. And so now the next step is Drop the Hammer, but Drop the Hammer is big enough where we need to do some more innovating with my bike because it's so long and front heavy that it just dives. And my commitment level. What's that?
I said, and there's nothing you can do to pull up or remedy that.
Yes,
as it
there are things that I can do, and I do them. But nothing has a greater impact than commitment.
Right.
I mean, if I'm not committed, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to dive.
I mean, yeah.
And I have to be committed, and I have to be probably 25% more committed as far as my commitment speed than a normal two-wheel bike. Because since it's so long and front heavy, the front is diving before the rear wheel is even off the end. So, I mean, no matter what, even when I'm fully committed and going a good speed and do everything, I still preload, I still pull back, I do all that, although those things don't do that much. They do enough where I still need to do them. I'm going to dive no matter what, even if I hit it perfect. I'm going to always land front wheels first almost every time. So that's what we're working on in Bentonville is that.
So that's a good segue to another question that I had. Different types of adaptive mountain bikes. So you're on a three-wheel bike, but I've also seen riders. I think that they were on two-wheel bikes, but it was just like an e-bike. And then you talked about like a four-wheel bike. I know there's hand cycles, which I don't know how they would do very well for mountain biking. But what are the difference of each bike, and why did you choose the three-wheel bike?
Oh, great question. There's a huge gamut of adaptive bikes, and some adaptive bikes you can't even tell that they're adaptive.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even know. So adaptive is a very broad term, but for our purposes, adaptive bikes for someone who's, paralyzed. There's all different types. There's, my type of bike, which is a tadpole configuration, 2 wheels in front, 1 in back. And the reason why it's 1 in back is because it's rear wheel drive. The bikes you see that are 1 front wheel and 2 rear wheels, those are front wheel drive.
Okay.
And so you can imagine the difficulty that comes with having front wheel drive. You can't climb anything technical, forget it. You're not going to be able to climb and then and that's a very popular bike because they're less expensive and they're easier and more available. And a lot of people ride those bikes. When I ride with those guys, it's always a thing. I will not ride in front ever with those guys because I mess them up. Because I can stop on a climb. No problem. I can stop. I can drop the gears, and I've got rear wheel drive. I just continue. They've got to keep their speed up. And if they stop, they're stuck because they'll just spin out. They can't get traction with front wheel drive.
Interesting.
So so there's that, and there's factors with those bikes too that, factor into the capability of the equipment, suspension, clearance, power assist or not. That's a big deal. My first adaptive bike was fully manual, and you might as well have been walking next to me on that.
What does that mean, fully manual?
No power assist.
So how do you move forward?
With a hand crank.
Oh wow.
Yeah, okay. my bike is hand powered.
Okay.
But I also have a pedal assist.
Got it.
Yeah. But I also have a throttle too, and you'd be surprised like how often I need it. So my handlebar and my hand crank are separate, So when I'm cranking, or when I need precision steering, and I need both hands on the handlebar, but I still need to propel myself, that's where the throttle comes in handy. And also for downhill situations.
Okay.
When I'm in downhill situation, I strap the crank so it doesn't move, and I turn it up to full power. I keep it powered way down, so I'm just like normal mountain bike speed most of the time. But for downhill, I crank up the power and use the throttle. If I need, just to get enough speed to get coming into jumps and things like that.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot to like think of and coordinate. I mean, with the bike,
my God,
like pedaling your feet, one rotation after another. But that's like,
and then also
the throttle, and then the hand crank, and then like your position on the bars.
Yeah, and also think you're choosing one line.
Right.
I'm choosing 3.
Yeah.
3 lines. It's crazy. There's a lot going on in my head when I'm riding. Yeah. And it is mountain biking, but it's also half 4x4ing too. So it's like mountain biking, part mountain biking, half 4x4ing. So it's different. Like a lot of the lines I choose, like you would choose if you were like, in a Jeep on a Jeep road, that kind of thinking,
Yeah.
So it is interesting. So there's those two types of bikes, the tadpole design and then the front wheel drive bikes. And then there's, you mentioned 2-wheel bikes. So those are called bucket bikes, where it's a normal 2-wheel bike with a bucket seat and a throttle with a power assist.
Yeah.
And the person's strapped it. You can't ride alone with that bike though.
Okay.
You got to get put into it.
Yeah.
And taken out of it. You can't get in and out of it solo. My bike, I can stop, I can get in and out, I can get on the ground, work on it, I'm totally solo, and I can stop it and it's balanced, But with the 2-wheel bike, you cannot ride alone. It's pretty much bike park only.
Yeah.
And if you fall.
When I follow Lindsay Runks.
Oh yeah, Lindsay rides a 2-wheel bike.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
She rips.
Yeah.
She rips, yeah. She's cool. You're pretty much relegated to the bike park. I mean, you're getting a workout because you're using your body and things, but it's not to me. I want to get my heart rate up. I want to exercise.
Yeah.
And even though I have a power assist, I am getting my heart rate in the red on a cross country style ride.
Yeah.
I am constantly, another thing that's going through my mind while I'm riding is staying ahead of the motor as much as possible, and then therefore getting my heart rate way up and never stopping. And then the other style bike are the 4-wheel bikes, which until recently were gravity fed only. No drivetrain whatsoever, tons of suspension. But now with the power assist technology, there are some 4-wheel bikes that do have a drivetrain. Okay. But again, those are throttle only as well. There's no pedaling. Yeah. So that's why my
advantage and disadvantage of those be.
Well, the 4-wheel bikes are going to be better. Have more suspension, and probably react better in the air and things like that because they're not as front heavy.
Right.
And but the disadvantage would be that there's no exercising really.
Okay, because it's all.
I mean, you're exercising, you're outdoors, you are using your body, but it's not cardiovascular exercise.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, and just the adventure aspect of riding. It's a different mentality when you're just pushing a throttle. For me, I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying this is for me. This is for me. If I'm out there, sitting and just pushing a throttle, I don't really feel like I'm communing with nature as much. I feel like I'm motoing around and having fun, which is fun and a cool experience too. Not knocking it, but what I want is a communion with nature.
Yeah.
And even though I do have a power, what's that?
To feel part of it.
Yeah, part of it. And for me, that makes a difference. If I'm cranking or pushing a throttle, that makes a difference for me. I can't really explain it, but it's just it's the way I explain that is it feels like I'm like motoing around riding a motorcycle versus it crosses that line to that for me. And I'm just throttling, which I do just throttle sometimes when I'm riding the bike park downhill situation. But again, that's motoing. That's kind of more having fun in the bike park and going big rather than being on the cross country ride. So I have the option of both with my bike. That's the main advantage. Also with the body position, with the forward body position, I'm able to lean and project into the fall line more. And I can take stuff with my arms rather than just being seated and letting the suspension do all the work.
So is the four-wheel bike seated and not like in that forward position? It's more like a ATV.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. It's an electric ATV basically. Yeah. And then seated versus the more forward kneeling position of my bike. The seated position, you're just the suspension's taking everything, and I can do more. I can take more of the impact with my body and project into the fall line when I'm forward. Those are the advantages for me. I think the front wheel drive bikes, they can like take turns better. It seems like they can turn tighter. So yeah, there's a pros and cons to everything.
Yeah. I mean, you get that with two-wheel bikes too, like travel size or suspension travel, wheel size, all that stuff.
I'm just grabbing my water real quick, but I have my headphones in so I can still hear you and talk to you. I'm getting all excited talking about riding.
Yeah, I know. I want to go out for a ride right now. We still have snow on the ground.
My bike's out of commission right now. I'm so bummed.
Easy fix?
Have you heard of what's that?
Easy fix, or does it have to get some major work?
No, it's a major mechanical. I know it sucks. But it's fine. I have my beach. I'm in San Diego and I live like right overlooking the water, and I have my like beach cruiser hand cycle.
Nice.
And I just ride that every day, and it's great.
I saw a photo of that. That looks fun. So
I have
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to tell you on my bike's out of commission. I have an internally geared hub, and have you heard of the roll-off speed hub?
Mm-mm.
It's a German engineered 14 gear internal hub, and they're amazing. But I'm getting like drive loss with it. Like gears 1 through 6 just spin and don't work. So, and there's all this troubleshooting they have on their website, and I've gone through everything. It's been actually a couple years of like troubleshooting. It started with like just a couple gears, and now it's gotten progressively worse. And now it's to the point where it happens every ride consistently, and I can't fucking ride.
No.
So I'm trying, and they're very limited in like people that can work on these things.
You have to send it to Europe.
Hopefully not. But there's a service, they call them their service partners. There's one in Long Beach here. So, but like I've gone through all the hoops to like communicate with Roll Off and with the service center in Long Beach. And I guess it's just the time of the year or whatever. I don't know. I might have to wait till next week to get anything done. So, I'm going to be driving up to Long Beach here in the next week or two and hopefully getting it fixed, and then I'll be good.
Hopefully.
And it's year-round riding here. Yes. Yeah. Hopefully. Well, they have lifetime warranty, so
okay.
I'm not worried about getting another one of my bike being operational. But yeah, it's just that even if it's done and I get a new one, then I got to build a new drive wheel, and that's just going to take forever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why my bike's out of commission.
Bike problems.
Bike problems. Yeah. You were going to ask a question.
Yeah. So e-bikes. So I know, like, it's funny, there's just so much contention around e-bikes where they can ride, where people can ride them, where they can't. Like, how does that work with adaptive riders? I mean, if you go to Moab, if you go to Sedona, can you still ride the trails?
Yeah, it's fine now. It's a non-factor now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, the awareness and education in the community, everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understands now. And, still, I mean, some people.
It's 10 minutes. My goodness.
Oh my God, you're talking up a storm. Holy crap, this is awesome. Whoa, time flies. Holy crap.
For sure.
I don't have any problems anymore. I used to, but if there's a problem, I feel like the intention is good.
Mm-hmm.
People are being protective of the trails and protective of nature, the environment, which I am 100% on board with. And if someone seems like they're being a dick, I have to remind myself that that's their motivation and their intention, and I support that. So I feel like it's up to me to be an ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
Other people can be dicks, but I don't need to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just try to educate people. I've never had anybody, harass me on a trail ever. No, just once, an equestrian one time. I was on a equestrian and hiker only trail.
Mm-hmm.
And I just tried to explain to them, but horses are a different deal, and especially with me, because I'm down low and I could be seen as a predator to a horse. So I understand someone being concerned with me being on an equestrian only trail or hiker only trail, and they're on a horse. I get that. And I just tried to be nice to the lady, but she was all pissy. And of course that's making the horse pissy because they're so in tune with their person. So that was a weird, awkward situation. That was the only time ever. And just online.
Online?
Well, I posted I inputted adaptive info for trails and Moab.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. And so I'll tell people hey, I mean, if you don't have a power assist, you're not gonna be able to ride this trail, kind of thing. And a Moab trail organization didn't like that, which I understand that. So I don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what I try to do is factor that into the trail rating,
whether you can do it with a motorized bike or not.
Yeah. So that falls into equipment capability. Mm-hmm. And so that's just another factor into the rating. And if it's, an e-bike, a sensitive area, that's fine. That's not a big deal. I can totally do that. If they don't like it, that's not a big deal. So that's the only things I've experienced in my career. And those aren't too big of deals. I've seen people post videos of being completely harassed on the trail, which is gnarly.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, it's, I don't understand it. And even e-bikes, I understand why people don't want them on the trails. But I'm like, if it's just getting more people out on bikes, having fun, like learning about this place, appreciating it.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. The only wrench to throw in that thought process is some adaptive bikes are basically electric motorcycles.
Yes, that is true. That is actually true.
So they're throttle only, and they're very powerful motors. And you add riders that are most adaptive riders, and this is a problem I have with adaptive riders that I try to communicate without words when I'm riding with them, is they go too fast. They're going e-bike speed, not mountain bike speed. For me, the reason of the power assist is to even the playing field.
Right.
So I can keep up and ride pace with everybody else, not to go faster and moto around on mountain bike trails. It's a moto experience versus a mountain bike experience. And so you've got these bikes that are very powerful and are throttle only. And yes, some disability levels require throttle only. You know, I've got friends who are quadriplegics that ride and they need that throttle, you know. They don't need 3,000 watts though. That's
and they don't need to use all of it.
Sorry. I'm sorry. That's fucking ridiculous. That is a motorcycle. And then I feel like a lot of adaptive riders are irresponsible and unsafe. They are going way too fast. They're going e-bike speed.
Would you say most adaptive riders were not mountain bikers before, like you, and they kind of fell into it after their accident?
I don't know about most, but a lot, yes. A lot are, they're getting these bikes because it's how we hike as well, you know? So, I mean, I'm not judging. I'm not saying that that's wrong to go faster. Anybody can do whatever the hell they want, you know, as long as it's not, you know, hurting anybody or being unsafe.
Yeah.
I believe it's unsafe a lot of times is my problem with it. And all I'm saying is it's not the experience I want.
True.
You know, I just want to ride with my friends and be my motivation is to be normal. And if I'm going ultra fast, that's not normal. You know what I mean? That's not what I want. That's not the experience I want personally. Doesn't matter what anybody else wants. They can do whatever the hell they want as long as they're being safe. So I try to. So that's what you're getting. That's the wrench to throw in that conversation. Yes, we want more people out there, but the line will be drawn soon. And it looks like where the line is going to be drawn is on the whether a bike there's a pedal option and the power of the motor.
So like now, so like class 1 e-bikes are allowed in some places. Like would that?
And class 1 for adaptive is different because the throttle is a very important thing. That is
okay.
So like class 1
doesn't have a throttle.
Yeah, so class 1 for regular 2-wheel bikes is no throttle. But that scale, in my opinion, should be shifted for adaptive a little bit because a throttle is a very important tool. But having the option to pedal and having such a powerful motor, then you're getting it. There's a whole new category called e-adventure. You're getting into the more e-adventure category. It's not necessarily mountain biking anymore. It's a different category. So that's the wrench to throw in that conversation of yes, more people on bikes, more people outdoors, because an adventure, a relationship with nature is very, very important to our mental health and well-being. But when it comes to classification and trail safety and things like that, a lot of these adaptive bikes are going to be in a different category. Does that make sense?
And you think, I mean, I can't think of it going backwards, but I do feel like there needs to be some rules, regulations to kind of make it guys.
Yeah, it's the same with like service animals, you know? People are bringing horses into stores, you know?
a little ridiculous.
Everyone is allowed to bring a dog on a plane pretty much no matter what. Completely untrained animals.
Right.
So the line is being crossed, and it's and a clear lines will be drawn, especially with adaptive bikes. It's the same thing. Yeah. Do you want to stop and restart again?
Yeah, and I'm gonna grab
a minute and a half.
Snack. I'll send you another link.
Okay, you're gonna send me a link on Instagram again?
Yep.
I hit record on this one. All right, we're back to it again.
Round 3.
What's your last name?
Timbers.
Yeah. Back with Becky Timbers, two-wheeled wanderer. God, it's it's 11:30. I kind of felt like cracking a beer.
Do it. I'm gonna eat, actually. I'm hungry.
Are you house sitting, or is this your house?
What's up?
Are you house sitting, or is this your house?
No, this is my dad's girlfriend's house.
Okay.
They're in Costa Rica for a month, and I was at I was at my dad's house. But my brother and sister-in-law and their 2 kids are there for the winter, and it's just chaos. So I ran away here.
What did you grab to eat?
Oven roasted dark chocolate almonds. They're delicious.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, crap. Oh yeah, we were talking about adaptive bikes and how they're probably
challenges and e-bikes. Yeah, I guess what are some other challenges or considerations that two-wheeled mountain bikers might not realize?
Have you ever ridden with an adaptive rider?
I haven't, but I want to.
Man, I swear a lot of them are just menaces. They're just ripping so fast around. It's crazy. I actually, when I ride with other,
isn't that like understandable? They want their freedom, and like I understand like it's not safe, but obviously I'm not paralyzed. But if you lose that ability, like wouldn't you want to have that freedom to go as fast as you can, to feel like you're
Yep. And they're the mentality is just like, fuck it, I'm gonna have as much fun as possible. But when I ride with other adaptive riders, I have to bump up my power. And I don't like to do that. I don't know. I like to be alone most of the time.
I'm a solo rider too, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love riding with my friends, but most of the time I prefer to just be alone. What are other challenges that two-wheel riders might not think of?
Yeah.
Well, the first one that comes into mind is being prepared for pretty much any type of contingency, because most adaptive riders do not have the luxury of being able to walk their bike back to the trailhead if they have a mechanical issue or something.
Yep.
So, I'm just complaining today. This is another thing with adaptive riders that just gets under my skin, is there's a lot of them are so unprepared. They don't even have stuff to change a flat tire and just rely on like strangers on the trail. And I could never do that. Although strangers have helped me and it's been fine.
Yeah.
But I don't want to ever put anybody in an uncomfortable situation, And then, yes, there have been times.
Just smart and common sense. There might not be other people on the trail.
There might not be other people. My rule is if you can't fix your bike, then don't ride alone, or be prepared with someone on call or something that knows where you are, that can get to you. But yeah, that's something that's really important and to consider, because riding on the road is one thing. When you're on the road, you have usually pretty easy access to help or facilities and stuff. On the trail, you're that further away from any help or anything.
Yeah.
And it's just another animal. Yeah. So I carry a bunch of tools, a bunch of stuff. And I have learned the hard way to carry that stuff. And that's really, really important. Yeah. So I would say that's one thing that you probably wouldn't think about.
Just being self-reliant, self-sufficient, being able to get yourself
self-reliant
situation.
Exactly. And for that requires much more preparation and thought.
And also understanding your bike. I mean, I'm sure that adaptive bikes are different than two-wheel bikes, and just understand.
Very different. Well, they're a lot similar, but they're also, very different. You got a lot more moving parts. They're much more complicated machinery. So that many more things can happen, and it's that much more to work on and requires that much more tools. Yeah, like, God, the weirdest thing freaking happened to me. It's something I never thought of before. So my bike has two chains. There's a front chain and a rear chain, and they meet at what we call an intermediary hub with two chain rings on it, right in the middle of the bike, kind of under my seat. And my bike was seizing up for some reason on the trail, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what the heck? And luckily, a guy that was with us was super mechanical. And he looked down in there and can see that one of the chainring bolts had just backed out, just like two threads, hardly any, and was hitting the frame of the bike, and I'm like, how did he know to look at that?
Yeah.
Because I gave him no information whatsoever. My bike was just seizing, and not only that, but it's really hard to see. It's like way down deep in there. Okay, now it required a 4 millimeter Allen wrench. And I have my tool with me, my mini bike tool and everything, but that couldn't reach in there to just get that bolt, turn it two threads. And so I required a full size Allen wrench, which didn't have with me. My boy was able to kind of finagle and barely get his hand in there and just get a couple turns so that the bolt was clearing the thread so we could get back, but we were I want to say we were 12 miles in on the out and back.
Yeah.
So it was 12 miles back again, and it kept happening because we could only turn it a couple turns. So now I have to carry a full size Allen wrench with me just in case something like that. So I carry a full Allen set.
Wow.
Full size, for that reason. Who would have ever thought of that?
Right. And who knows, it'll happen again.
So there's a pretty good example of, something you would never think about happening with a death. But yeah, crazy.
Do you carry your phone, but do you carry a GPS communication thing at all?
No, but I want to get one just because they're cool.
Yeah, I want to get one too for bike packing trips. But I go out and do solo backcountry rides by myself, and I'm like, I told somebody where I'm going, but it'd be nice to have a GPS communication device too.
And they're not expensive. I mean, for the little mini Garmin Spot, I saw the small one's $150.
Oh, really?
I thought. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. It's a really small one. You use it with an app on your phone.
Maybe
you can send a text on your phone, and it's also a subscription. It's a $5 a month subscription or something to the satellite service.
The one I was looking at, it's the Garmin Mini InReach. It's $400, which still, I mean.
Okay, then that's the one. That sounds like the one I was looking at, and that's it. I think so. I think I'm wrong, but still $400 for
potentially life-saving device. Yeah, worth it.
Yeah. No, I need to get one. I haven't been on a ride with no service in a long time. I mean, the closest to that is Sedona, but you eventually get to service. You know, it's just spotty. You know, you hit a vortex and nothing works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then nothing works at all. And then, you know, you go 100 feet down the trail and everything works fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird there. Dude, I swear to God, it's a thing.
The vortex?
The different vortexes all around. I mean, maybe. I'm not someone that buys into that kind of thing, but I spend a lot of time there, and the more time I spend, the more I'm like entertained that there's something to that.
Yeah.
Because it's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And when now it's not just the phones that go out in your service, it's like everything electrical.
Yeah.
Goes out. It's really for like my bike gets all my power system, my bike gets all weird. Like everything.
Could be like a portal to another dimension.
Could be.
Well, let's talk about Unpavement. I've done a little research, but yeah, tell me about that and what you're doing and what your mission and goals for it are.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I've kind of just been a ping pong ball my whole life, like a subject of my environment, like no direction, you know?
Wait, you just
and I'm living. Person?
Is that what you
said?
Yes,
in general, the purpose, pre-wheelchair, post-wheelchair. That's just what I've been. And no real direction in life. And so it's real interesting with the Unpavement project. I'm living with direction and purpose for the first time. So for me personally, that's what the Unpavement project is. And it's a selfish thing for me. Like I want to know where I can ride safely, you know, and it just so happens that, you know, that as I collect this information, it obviously helps other people. So that's a cool freaking thing. So yeah, as awesome as these bikes are, they are limited, you know, and I've gotten into trouble out there. Yeah, I've been completely fucked. And I called up Trail Forks. You know, in my online research, I was coming up empty-handed, you know, trying to find where I could ride safely. And I was finding that, you know, even in talking to local bike shops, you know, in places where I was traveling, people didn't really know. Yeah. You know, couldn't give me definitive answers. Yeah. You know, they might be able to, oh, this trail might be okay, this might be okay. But there's so many misconceptions and misinformation that, and if you're not really familiar with riding with adaptive riders, and with a trail area, you really don't know.
But I also think, like, you know, the average person, when you tell them that you're going to take an adaptive bike down Highline, they'll be like, that's not possible.
I will never do that. Okay. No.
But even
that's not possible.
That was a bad example, but like other trails, like Velocity, if you said somebody, you know, I'm going to take my adaptive bike down Velocity, and they're like, that's not possible.
Yeah. So yeah, you say, I'm going to go down Velocity, and they're like, no way. Yeah. But then they send you to, what's a good example of a trail? Okay. They'll send you to like, Gravy Train, you know, or like, what's the trail that goes up to Gravy Train? Like the cross country trail that climbs up. Okay. No, here's a good example. Off the Top.
Yeah. Which is a great trail. I love Off the Top.
Yeah. So like, they'll be like, oh no, but you can ride Off the Top. That's the family adventure trail off the backside of the mountain. You'll love it. Right away, there's a pinch point.
That's true. Yeah.
Immediately. Immediately. And then the bottom half requires assistance. So most adaptive riders can ride Velocity, like a pro line, even it's labeled a red pro line, I believe, or an orange pro line. And you know, mainly fall line trail with major features, but almost everything has ride arounds. And so the misconception would be, oh, you can't ride that, but most adaptive riders are actually fine on that. Yeah. But the family adventure trail, there's problems.
Yeah. Interesting.
So see, See, that's the misconception. So what happened? So I got into trouble out on the trail. Came up empty-handed in my research, trying to find something. So I called up Trail Forks. Actually, originally called up MTB Project because this was kind of before Trail Forks got big. And then MTB Project was all in, but then they went through some serious attrition. The people I was talking to left, and then that ball got dropped. So I called up Trail Forks because they were kind of up and coming and the new cool, trail resource. And they're all in. So nice. I created this very simplified rating system that's duplicatable across multiple platforms, is simple to understand, is very not complicated. And they adopted that rating system, which that rating system is beginning to be adopted across more platforms, and started documenting my trail experiences because video is probably even better resource than an app like Trail Forks. Being able to watch a bike an adaptive bike go down a trail and listen to somebody talk about their experience and what to look out for, things like that. So I fired up a YouTube channel, started making videos, and it's turned into a fun project.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
So for Trail Forks, like, do you I know it's user generated. So if you do a trail, do you submit the rating?
I'm an admin, so I put the rating in myself.
Okay. Nice.
And anybody who's an admin can do it, but I'm very apprehensive about that.
Because it's if
they're not,
it can be subjective. Like even if you have, the standards in place, like it's still, what is hard for one rider might be less hard or more hard than for another rider. And that's the bike thing too. Like it depends on what bike they're on.
That's exactly it. And I'm glad you said that because that's part of it too. So, when I'm riding a trail, I'm not, or when I'm assessing a trail or performing an audit on a trail network, I'm not riding as myself. I'm riding as the average rider, with all disability types, all bike types, and all ability types in mind. And that mean is based on a formula that I've created of rider ability, beginner, intermediate, advanced, rider disability, and also equipment capability. And I can share this stuff all with you later. Oh, but you've got this for your notes too.
Yeah.
So that equation is very important, and keeping all that entire rider spectrum in mind when riding assessing a trail is really, really important. And then the opposition to the simplified rating system says that, more information is better. And I completely disagree. Information is always good, but not necessarily helpful. And when you think about it logically. So I put myself in the situation. I've got, and say there's a rating system that has a bunch of information, is really complicated, and I can use that information to make an educated decision if I'm going to go down a trail or not. For trails that are maybe on opposite ends of the spectrum, where like closer to being, where something I could ride solo, or closer to something where I'm almost always going to need help, those are pretty clear cut. But everything in the middle, in the gray area, that's a maybe, I still don't know, even if I have a ton of really good information, until I go. Really going is the only way to find out. And that makes it a gamble no matter what, if I'm by myself, and I'm tired of gambling. I'm not going to do it anymore. Sometimes it's worked out really, really well and been great. And I've added a new trail to my trail library that I can ride. And that's such a good feeling. But it's not worth the risk.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've been at that trailhead trying to decide, am I going to do it? Am I not? And I go and I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And I, either I've gotten hurt or, something's happened to my bike, or just my experience in that day is just now very shitty. Or it's turned, from a mountain biking experience into more like adventure mountaineering,
Yeah.
Type 2 fun. Exactly it. It's crossed that line, and I'm not necessarily prepared for that in a day. I don't have harnesses and carabiners and shit with me. So that's the reason for a simplified rating system. And now also, there's two very different types of riders. There's a distinct line drawn in the types of adaptive riders there are, and that's riders with support and riders without.
Mm-hmm.
A rider with support can ride a lot more than a rider without. And so the rating system needs to cater to both of those rider types. So logically, what's the question each rider type needs to know the answer to? So a rider that's solo needs to know, what can I ride safely alone? And
is that hard?
Those trails might.
Is that like yes, no? Is your rating system like yes, no, or is there more of a spectrum?
Yep. It's pretty much yes, no. There's it's aMTB, which is adaptive mountain bike 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
aMTB 1, you can ride it solo. Most riders can ride it solo. That's very clear. Mm-hmm. Riders that find themselves in the extremes of the rider spectrum should know to shift the scale.
Yeah.
So riders that are maybe in the left end of the spectrum where, maybe they have a higher disability or less capable bike, or maybe they're a new rider, know that things that are maybe aMTB 1 for most riders might be aMTB 2 for them, or most likely are.
Mm-hmm.
And same goes to the other extreme. Riders that are on extremely capable bike are advanced riders. Stuff that's maybe aMTB 3 for most riders might possibly be aMTB 2 for them.
Yeah.
So the scale shifts because it's based on a curve. And so the aMTB 1, yes, you can ride this trail. Most riders can ride this trail solo. aMTB 3, well, then the other question is, before I get into what the rating is, the other question is, for riders with support, what trails are not going to be so much work where it crosses that line into type 2 fun, where the rating system directs users to the best mountain biking experience,
right?
Not necessarily adventure mountaineering.
Yeah.
So the numerical value that I've implemented for that is, if your support rider needs to be off their bike for more than 20% of the trail, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much. They might as well not have their bike with them. Mm-hmm. If it requires ejection from the equipment, or if it requires extra equipment, harnesses, ropes, carabiners. Now we're crossing the line, right? I've been there.
On my riding, that would be crossing the line too.
Yeah, exactly. It's very common sense. It's very common sense and very logical.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what I feel. And those that oppose this rating system and want more information aren't really thinking about the practical application of all this really awesome information, but that really ends up being not useful.
But I mean,
so that's the question
it's the same for the Trail Forks rating too. I mean, you have green, blue, black, double black, and red. Like, you don't really get a whole lot more information with that. I mean,
yeah, there is more information. There's topo profile. There's POIs. There's all kinds of really useful information. That's the other thing. We don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And then also, when you get into like changing the colors because it's adaptive, that gets confusing.
No, yeah.
There's colors for that. There's numbers for this. That's good. That's enough. Keep it simple, simple, simple. So the question and answers, what can you ride safely solo? And what can you ride that's not too much work if you have a support rider? Mm-hmm. So aMTB 1, you can ride it solo. Most riders can ride it solo. aMTB 3, most riders are going to need help, but it's not too much that it's not fun. And then aMTB 2, maybe? So the maybe means, so it's support rider recommended.
Okay.
Which means, and then the blanket rule is never ride new trail alone for the first time.
Yeah.
Fire roads, things like that. Usually you're going to be fine. Although I've run into problems on fire roads, even, with gates and things like that. Down trees is a big one. But yeah, aMTB 2 is take a support rider the first time. See, it might be good. It might not, you might be good. You might not. And usually, progression is involved. You might be able to ride this solo with practice.
Right.
Yeah. Practice the line, get the line down. So very logical, very simple, and the rating system does not exist on its own either. It exists with uncut video and a trail blog. Trail blog.
Trail blog.
The trail blog just gives further information mostly about staging and facilities and gates and things like that. Most people are not going to do trail research before they go ride somewhere. I know, familiar. Most people don't.
Think so?
Oh, I know so. Yeah. Most people, the number one used resource is recommended routes. That's why those are so important. Most people are going to go on Trail Forks, find a recommended route, and follow that.
Yeah. I guess unless it's like a iconic trail. I do feel like people would do research before they do the whole enchilada or something like that. Although I guess that's a route and not a trail.
But it's also a supported ride.
True.
They're going to do enchilada. They've got the shuttle service. They're going to ask those guides questions. They're going to be with a group,
Yeah, that's true.
How many people fit on that shuttle? Isn't it a big bus? There's going to be all those people with them that are on the shuttle. And there's outs and yeah. So iconic rides are different. I agree. But another thing that people do commonly is just, enter the name of the trail on YouTube. That's why video is so important. You're gonna go on YouTube. You're gonna type the trail name and watch some videos. You're gonna eat your chocolate covered almonds and watch a couple videos. Most people recommended routes, videos on YouTube, and that's why uncut video is so important because it just takes out all the questions.
Yeah.
And also the trail blog, which gives further information that's important for adaptive riders.
No, is there a rating? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is there a rating? Would you, like you said, you wouldn't take your bike down Highline? Would you put an adaptive rating on that and say no, hard no?
I would say not suitable for adaptive.
Yeah.
You will die. You will die.
Or at least end up in the hospital.
Yeah. They're an adaptive bike cannot ride that trail, and it will not. It's not completely not suitable. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And it's because of the off camber, the exposure.
Yeah.
And then and you have to do some kind of track stand type turns.
Yep.
And there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Yeah. Because if you miss that track stand turn and can't put your foot down,
bad news.
You die. Yeah. It's also extremely high catastrophic consequences.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
Now, in that type of situation, if it's minimal consequences, if you're just falling into a flat meadow, or
filled with wildflowers,
nice cushy grass. That's one thing, but you're falling off a cliff in that situation.
Yeah.
So no, that's a no. That's a big no. Yeah.
What about community? Like, I know there's a lot of, I'm going to blank on the name. I'm sure you'll mention it. But yeah, community within the adaptive riders. Like, what is there if people wanted to get
there's a bunch of
be like a support rider?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff now. If someone wants to get involved, there's so many options and so many programs that have bikes, and support and
does Mammoth have
Mammoth does have an adaptive program, and they have a ton of bikes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Now, they don't take those bikes usually on the big boy and big girl trails on the bike park, but there's a lot of trail options they take them out on. Yeah, for sure. And they do, camps and annual camp and everything.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a bunch of programs out there, and they're all awesome. I actually have the programs that I know of that have adaptive off-road bikes as opposed to road bikes, listed on the Unpavement website in the resource section.
Okay.
Look at that. I do want to advise that it is an incomplete list. I'm sure there's programs out there that I do not know of that are not on there. So sorry about that, everybody. I've had people email me like mad.
Yeah.
That this program is not on there. I'm like, sorry.
I'm not surprised. Some of the comments I get on my blog, I'm like, are you serious? Are you just writing this, to piss me off? Probably. But
yeah. I've had to check myself with comments and things like that and realize, okay, it's just not a comment I would expect, and is maybe not necessarily negative. I have to remind myself of that. Yeah. Sometimes someone says something weird that I'm not really thinking about that someone would say, and I get pissed off. Like, I think it's a hater. I'm like, wait, no, they're not being negative. It's just not something you thought of,
Yeah.
But this person was pissed and was very clear that they thought I was a dick.
Oh, because you didn't include it.
I was like, wow. I'm sorry. I just didn't know. Thank you for the information. It's on the site now. Check it out. Here it is. Isn't it cool? Is there anything else you think I should add?
Kill them with kindness.
Make them feel heard.
Yeah.
Whatever. In the end, they have a good intention, right? They're just going about it in a dick way.
Yes, I understand that. Cool. That was really helpful. It was, a lot of things.
Oh, you're done with me?
Well, I'm trying to think of other questions, but I actually have to get going in a minute. I'm sure I'll have more questions once we.
Yeah, if you have more questions, just email me. So your article will be on your blog.
Yeah, and I'll send it.
It's not necessarily an article. It'll be a blog entry.
Yeah, but I'll send it. I'm just saying, before I publish it. Just so you
cool. Great, I appreciate that. And I'm just saying so that people know where to read it. I want to use this podcast to promote your blog and promote this blog entry. So, if you guys want to read this blog entry that Becky's going to write, do you have a subscription email list?
I do.
Up, probably.
Yep.
So
if you just go to my website. Just go to my website, twoworldwanderer.com. You'll see.
Or your Instagram. Is your Instagram an okay place to follow you? Like, do you post new blog entries in your story and stuff like that?
I try to, but honestly, I try to spend as little time on Instagram as possible. I don't know. It's just, social media is hard for me. But you can find me on Instagram. It's Two Wheeled Wanderer. And that has a link to my blog. And then on my blog, you can find forms to sign up for my newsletter, which I send out once a week on Fridays.
Okay. Well, I'm going to post your blog entry on my social media.
Okay.
So if you follow my Instagram, you will see it.
Yeah,
social media is a problem for me too. But it is the most powerful marketing tool we have. And I've come to realize, and I'm going to say this is true for you too, that my life is not about me anymore.
No, for sure. I understand that.
Yeah, it's about inspiring people to get outdoors and exercise and have a relationship with nature. And that is much bigger than me.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
If I let my ego get in the way of sharing that, then that is a disservice to our community. So
that is a good
people reading your blog is important. So, and people that follow you want to see that stuff. So
that's true. All right. With that said, you will see something about adaptive mountain biking on my Instagram feed in the coming weeks.
Rad. And I guess I'll see you in May, right?
Yeah, I will be in Fayetteville. So I have a house in Fayetteville. May 3rd to the 20th. So it's like 2.5 weeks.
Rad. Let's ride.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be super fun. And I haven't checked out.
I'll show you that drop. I'm Mad Hatter.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been over there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's super fun. It's a great area. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Becky. Thank you so much. I guess I will hear from you soon.
All right. Sounds good. And
all right, everybody out there, put your phone down and go get your hug from Mother Nature. That's my sign off.
How do you want me to send the recordings? Just email? I have your email.
Yeah, I can send you a file request on Dropbox if you want.
Okay, that works.
And that way you just drop them in there and boom, it's done.
Cool. You have my email? I think I put it in Instagram.
Yes, I do have your email. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, Becky, thanks so much.
Let's touch awnings and ride.
Yeah, it's on. All right, take care of yourself.
All right, bye.
Bye.